captain stands before you. She looks remarkably ordinary, you think, as far as black ring go. But then you hear a voice inside your head.
Tell me who you are, or I will kill you. And do not doubt me, for I tell the truth.
Her expression does not change. She cannot read your mind, but you can read her face, and you see she grows impatient.
Tell me who you are, or I will kill you. Then kill the divine pigs and kill the godwoken. Kill them all, and then perhaps you live, or perhaps you die. You serve the God King now, so kill the Divine Order pigs and kill the Godwoken. Go kill them all. Go serve the King. You are the one to die. You are the one to die.
Even though her tormentor is dead, the Magister is still paralyzed with fear. Her mind is gone.
Mama, I want Mama.
Even though her tormentor is dead, the Magister is still paralyzed with fear. Her mind is gone.
Mama, I want Mama.
I taste it on the wind. The death of all. And then
A black-ringed priestess turns to you. Her astonishing beauty takes your breath away. Her gaze drifts past you, and you realize that she's blind. She breathes in, as if tasting the air, as if tasting you. She produces a mirror of darkest black. It catches the light and holds your gaze. She looks into it as if to stare at her own magnificence, and then speaks as if to herself.
I found God woken.
A black-ringed priestess turns to you. Her astonishing beauty takes your breath away. Her gaze drifts past you, and you realize that she's blind. She breathes.
The death.
A black-ringed priestess turns to you. Her astonishing beauty takes your breath away. Her gaze drifts past you, and you realize that she's blind. She breathes in, as if tasting the air, as if tasting you. She laughs and raises one hand, telling you to wait. She produces a mirror of darkest black, holds it up as if to look upon her own magnificence, and then speaks as if to herself.
I found God woken.
She waits a moment, as if listening to her own reflection.
It shall be done, O sallow one.
She closes the mirror, looks at you directly, almost as if she can see you, and then she smiles. A smile to melt the heart, a smile to drown in, a smile to send an army off to war.
What's on your mind, darling?
The priestess holds her hand out to you and smiles. A smile to freeze the heart. A smile to set a forest all ablaze. A smile in which to gladly bleed to death.
Take me.
Her hand slides into yours, and you are whisked away, far across the oceans and the forests and the mountains, to a city on a dusty plain. You're in an alleyway, dark and dank, and you wear a hood. You're ragged and dirty, twisted and bent. You move with a stooping sideways gait. Thirsty, while a shopkeeper's back is turned, you approach a barrel of water and bend to drink. You catch a glimpse of your own reflection. Your skin is discolored, your features deformed, your nose hooked. Whack! The shopkeeper cuffs you about the head, shoves you away, and tells you to clear off. He calls you hag and crone and old witch, though you have only just reached maturity. You reach for the curved dagger hidden in your stinking robes. She laughs, a laugh like ringing bells.
Both and none.
You race through a maze of alleyways as behind you the alarm is raised. You hide in a darkened corner as the pursuing mob draws near and sense a presence behind you. You turn. A man's pale face floats high above you in the gloom. He smiles and offers you his long-fingered, long-nailed hand. You know this is the God King's sallow envoy. There is no choice to make. You step from your hiding place as the mob goes racing by, crying thief and witch and hag. None but the younger men give you a second glance. They give you a third glance and a fourth. You find a mirror in your pocket. You open it and stare into the black glass. The most beautiful woman you have ever seen looks back at you. You smile. And so does she. And you will remember the beauty of that smile until beyond your dying day. The last thing you ever saw before the veil came down. Because now, your sight is fading. Darkness descends, and quickly you are blind. Your other senses rise, and you hear and feel and smell the world. You are not lost. You shall never be lost again.
I served the God King well. I shall return. His soul is mine, and so is yours. His soul is mine, and so is yours.
Her laughter echoes like fading cathedral bells, ringing out a world of beauty and despair. You turn away.
Speak if you wish to. I think you know the answer to that. First, I'll find the master. He has a date with a needle. Whatever comes after that, comes after that. My, what a query to ask so out of the blue. Still, why not? I suppose some stories were always meant to be told. So, here goes. No, hang on.
She retrieves a small flask from her backpack, uncorks it, and takes a big swig. Tears stream from her eyes as she offers you the flask.
They're tears of joy, I assure you. Here, have some joy.
You drink. It burns. Soon the tears run down your cheeks as well.
Not bad, is it? So good it has us crying like babies. Now then, the epic of The Master and the Scar. Sounds like a melodramatic opera. There was, of course, some singing involved. It began when I woke in the dark room. He removed my blindfold, and still I did not see. He himself was darker than any shadow, but I could hear him give orders to another. Stingtail. How he came to regret the actions he performed that day. The Master bid the dream a dream, and so he did. He sat there. I could feel his hands upon my cheeks. He trembled, as if in pain. I didn't know what was going on until, quite suddenly, his right hand became a flame. I screamed as he traced the design of the scar into my searing flesh, but I could not move, not an inch. And all the while, the Master looked on in darkest silence. Oh, like all good things in life, one has to experience these things firsthand. So, once the scarring was over, and the pain began to fade, the training began. With words, whistles, snaps of the fingers even, the Master could make me obey his every command. Young, strong, smart. You know I don't exactly lack in qualities. It didn't take him long to train me in the arts of stealth, subterfuge, and assassination. It shakes me little now, all too little. But that first time, that first real kill, it was such stuff as nightmares are made on. I had now lived in the dark for what might as well have been years. I was in a wood, but the trees there were sick. Grey, leafless hydras sticking out of ashen earth. There were no stars that night. She sat, shivering beside a fire. I was nervous. I had to chase her. My hand hated itself, tried to resist, but there is no resisting the Master's song. My stabs weren't as mercifully exact as they should have been. I had to bring down the needle again and again as her screams flooded the forest with terror. When it was done, I crawled back to the Master, broken, crept back into the box, and through its cold black lid, he told me I had done well. Next time, I'd do better. You understand me completely. With the needle, I'll kill him. And with the needle, I'll strike his name from my skin. The bastard will be Master no longer. The very best.
She cocks her head ever so slightly and eyes you as innocently as a kitten.
Why? Don't tell me you disagree. Thank you. I quite agree, and I'm sure I'll have mercy on you when I'm a goddess. You, but a mortal at my feet. In all seriousness, though, the prospect both tickles and terrifies me. I mean, divinity. Will it be a blessing or a burden? Would we be truly omnipotent, or merely the servants of an unruly universe, as desperate for control as we are now? And then there's the question that makes me shiver most of all. Would we still be ourselves? Would I remain Sibyl, or would my mortal soul die upon gaining divine immortality? Take the plunge and don't look back, huh? As good a plan as any, I presume.
She sighs and closes her eyes, then smiles her easy smile.
Such a silly game we play, to be a god. It's quite wasted on mortals, if you ask me. We are all of us too blemished to become immaculate. Ah, yes. I am the Prime Scion. A revelation that came quite out of the blue, which is somewhat ironic, considering I'm supposed to be my people's foremost memory keeper. Quite slipped my mind, though. A slave scar will do that to a girl. Yes, a great many things. Days long gone.
She looks down, an uncharacteristic cast of melancholy passing over her face.
Gods, I was so young. Imagine it, to sit enthroned under a vast forest canopy, to look down upon a crowd of thousands, their bodies aglow with countless rays of golden light falling through the leaves. You hear their voices as one. One mind, one thought, and it's your name they incant, as if the word itself were magic. Sabille. They said it like I was the cornerstone of their existence. Isn't that silly? I didn't even know myself. Good question. It's a very lonely thing indeed to be the object of a people's worship. What is revered is feared at the same time.
She absent-mindedly fingers her needle, hesitates.
I used to love poetry. I used to love wandering the forests for days on end. I'd swim in the rivers and forget to dress after. It was fine. I was alone. I'd bask in the sun, sleep nestled among bear cubs. Nothing out there would harm me. But always, they would find me, the scions. Always the mother tree would call me back. For one day, I'd be free no longer. One day, my legs would be roots. To wander would be but one lone memory among millions. Clearly not. Though I must admit that even to sit on that throne amid that eerie crowd, destined to become leaf and bark, was not so dreadful a prospect as what came next. When I decided to run away from the Mother Tree with only the moon for my guide, it was a terrible journey. Soft-leafed branches became vicious like whips. Moss-bedecked rocks became sharp like the stone axes of old. I grew weary. I was bleeding, in pain, and how I gasped when for the first time an animal eyed me with malice and growled. That is when I heard them. The whispers and the taunts, the low howls of men. The snare cut so deep. The blindfold, it made me panic. The dark.
Somewhat to your surprise, Sabille doesn't recoil, but allows you to hug her.
Thank you. That very first moment of darkness. I've never been so scared ever since. Then there was the stench of those men. The burn of the ropes. The jeers and the kicks. Until the dark went silent. Even those barbarians didn't dare speak in the presence of the Master. But I'll not speak of him and his methods. Not now, anyway. If ever.
Losa looks pale and unfocused. She doesn't meet your eyes.
Yes! Oh, no!
Losa looks pale and unfocused. She doesn't meet your eyes.
Yes! Okay.
Sabine slides her hand in yours, makes your heart skip a beat with her particularly coquettish smile.
I've something I need to tell you.
She scrapes her throat, hesitates, almost as if she's a bit nervous. There's a first.
I'm afraid you're going to accuse me of killing the mood, but the thing is, I need to talk to you about the Master. No, not anymore, or so I hope. My dear, sweet boy, I've grown to trust you more than I've trusted anyone since I've had names on my skin. Wasn't easy, I know. Come, sit down with me for a moment.
You both sit down, cross-legged, knees to knees, hand in hand. Suddenly, a melody. Sabine sings a song, haunting in its simplicity. She uses no words, sounds rather. It's beautiful, yet somehow menacing.
This is my Scar song. It's all the Master needs to make me his slave once more, unless your voice opposes his. I will soon confront him, with you by my side. My life and my liberty I place in these soft, strong hands of yours. Will you sing? Good answer.
Her cat's eyes close as she leans in for a kiss. You kiss. It's sweet and wonderful. You wish it could last forever.
My word.
You both get up and smile to one another warmly. When you hear a sound in the distance and turn to look, Sabine pats you affectionately on the bottom.
Adventure calls, but I say we do this again sometime.
What's on your mind? Surely it's obvious. Ascension awaits. Once we manage to gain access to the actual Well of Ascension. That is not to say I'm not dying to have a word with the House of Shadows. It's most intriguing. A message from the House of Shadows. The ones who so fruitlessly sent assassins after my good self. Well, first, I will hear the man out. If he can lead me to Sadher, well, I can spare my ears a moment or two for that. Besides, only polite, I always say, to hear a man out before beheading him. What house? Ah, a peculiar query. But very well, I'm no stranger to parlor games. Let's see. From what I gather, you've a certain martial quality about you. A desire for conquest, for victory won by the blade. There can be no doubt that would place you in the esteemed House of War. Congratulations. Don't get your hopes up. We don't adopt.
One step, then another, ever closer. You can tell from her bearing, Sabine has never been so ready to kill, so on the brink of impending action. She's like a cat, all concentrated muscle, that split second before it pounces. Another step, ever closer. The moment has finally come. She's found the master.
Sabine? Here you go, breaking my heart.
That's the plan, mastermind.
He sighs, sadly.
I don't begrudge you your freedom, Sabine, but you came looking for me driven by no more than ordinary bloodlust. All you see is red. You've lost sight of all reason. You know how the scar works. You know I have but to sing a single tune. You've no hope whatsoever of defeating your master.
He sings. The scar song swells, 1,000 tiny needles in Sabile's soul, chipping away at her will. The song continues. Sabile's eyes grow dull. She's completely under the lizard's thrall once more, lost to you forever.
How may I serve you, master?
I think I'm about to have another chat, but in the meantime, my dear, you may fetch me my slippers. Sabine Shayanu, Sabine Shalendevod.
I must speak with this man. Please stay close and keep an eye out for assassins in the shadows. Very good. Now for some answers.
Red Prince, at last we meet, or rather, meet with your awareness of my presence. how often I've stood by you but an arm's length away, a shadow within the shadows, untouchable. Almost like meeting an old friend.
His eyes are black holes in a black-skinned sky. He bows with the deference of a noble among nobles, swinging ever so playfully between sincerity and sarcasm.
I suppose I should start with an apology for the attempts on your life. Talk about getting off on the wrong foot, wouldn't you say?
Failed attempts, remember? Hardly made me break a sweat, those lackeys of yours.
To my astonishment, and, I admit, my admiration. You may find this hard to believe, but given different circumstances, I would have been quite content to let you live. Let you play the Emperor from your golden throne in your golden city. Alas, certain events beyond even my control were set in motion. Ripples became waves. I had to act. And so I arranged for you to meet with an unfortunate self-inflicted end. His libido is legendary. How could he resist? And what better way to organize his demise? But of course I didn't know then he was God-woken, stronger than the demon. It's almost a pity we find ourselves on such opposite sides, all because of who you are, and all because of who she is. It was Sadha who set events in motion, Red Prince. If you were the ripple, she was the wave. She's a tidal wave that will take wing, become a murder of dragons, red as the setting sun, that will alight every corner of this world with the terrible splendor of fire. To make a point, for it is murder they would commit, and it would be murder that would be committed upon them. The simple truth of the matter is that yes, we lizards were dragons once. The mightiest creatures to rule sky, earth, and sea. But such was the jealousy of our power that all other races united against us and brought us to the brink of extinction. No one knows what happened next. Was it wizardry? Was it Zol Stissa who took mercy on us even then? Suddenly we were dragons no more. Lizards instead. And as lizards we flourished and built an empire once more. But the House of Dreams trades in prophecy. They've always known we could be dragons again. For one day a man and a woman will be born, and their skin will be red, and the fruit of their union will be great red dragons.
A day that will come to pass.
Curse your obstinance. Listen to me. I am the House of Shadows. This is my role. I see the great games in motion. Allow them their flux when they advance for good. Cut them short when they advance for evil. Even if that means doing evil. The renaissance of dragons would spell the end of our race, plain and simple. To that end, I needed you to die, but you proved to be all too worthy an opponent. An opponent, I would now see an ally. Ally with me, Red Prince. Find Sadha and kill her. If she births dragons, all other races will unite against us, and this time they will destroy us for good. We were spared last time. The condition of our continued existence was that we'd never let the dragon roar again.
They look each other in the eyes, like two chess players contemplating their next move.
Actually, I think I'll call his bluff. Now then, I'm the Red Prince. Your role in this story is over. I am its sole protagonist. Sadha may indeed be dangerous. I may decide she must die. I may not. But it will be my decision. You're out of options, Master of Shadows. Tell me where she is.
The Shadow Prince stands checkmated, and he knows it.
I truly have no choice, have I? Very well. I must put the fate of all lizards in your hands. But beware. Sadha is ultimately dangerous. Not only will she be the mother of dragons, I fear she's fallen in with an old enemy. Them.
He points to the fallen black ring.
If I'm correct, and Sadha's heart has been darkened by the ring, you may be able to find her through their scrying magic. There's a thing on this island known as the Sallow Man. He is a master of mirrors. Mirrors like his will read your mind and show you what you desire, if you manage to elude or eliminate him. A word of warning, though. He is like a shred of nightmare ripped from the dream realm, set loose in reality. Do not underestimate this creature. Be careful, and become the savior of all lizards, Red Prince. Become the true emperor of your people.
I will be Emperor, yes. Of lizards or dragons, that remains to be seen.
My word, a god woken. I'm almost honored. There are precious few things in this world that elude me, but divinity is very much one of them. I am a man with no name. They call me the Shadow Prince, but that is rather dramatic and, in fact, rather incorrect. For what I truly am is the House of Shadows itself. That is my role and my purpose. I see the great games in motion, allow them their flux when they advance for good, cut them short when they advance for evil. Even if that means doing evil. As such, I am here to cut short a very ancient evil indeed, and would welcome the aid of one as formidable as your divine self. You're too kind. One would prefer a more idyllic setting than this, but let me regale you with a story. Once upon a time, the race of lizards was so much more than what we are now. We were dragons once. Great red dragons. No one remembers this, but the elves are our guild. As dragons, we almost wiped them from the face of the earth. We were stopped, and we were punished. I know not how, but someone took away the fire that made us dragons. Wings clipped, we became lizards. But there was a reason our dragon ancestors wanted to destroy the elves, for they too had a plot for world domination at the expense of all other races. And while we were punished, the remaining elves were spared. The elven scions are the key. After their deaths, the powers and souls of scions linger on in the vast and ever-growing network that connects all of the ancestor trees. We discovered that once the network will be large enough, dryads will sprout from these roots, equipped with the memories, experience, and enormous powers of generations of elves. A vast, invincible army that will obliterate everything in their path. It will be the end of all other races. I've been trying to stop them for years. Now I'm close to ending it all, for good. Will you help me?
He hands you a wooden box, its surface dull to the touch. A vague sickness overwhelms you. There's death fog inside.
The heart of the vile elven network is the Mother Tree. She is rooted on this island, and I believe she is aiming to extend her roots into the powers of divinity that lie here. Place this box at the heart of the Mother Tree and return to me when you've done so. I'll take care of the rest. Best of luck, Godwoken.
You look into Sabile's cat eyes, but the beauty and the predator that were there are gone. Her eyes have simply grown dark beyond dark, and all is blank behind them.
Sabile the Shalin Devil. Find the mother. Curse her very heart. The death fog device is not in place. Do not lie to me. The shadows know.
You look into Sabile's cat eyes, but the beauty and the...
Sabile the Shalin. Sabile the Shalin Devil.
You look into Sabile's cat eye.
no idea what any of this means.
I must speak with this. Very good.
Red, almost.
His eyes
I suppose. Fade. Too much. You may, alas. Cert is it's all. It was. She's a tidal wave that will take wing. Better make up the simple. No one but the house.
A day that...
Cast your. Listen to the Renaissance. Ally with.
They look each other.
Actually... Now then, you're out of...
The shadow.
I true. But beware.
He points.
If I'm correct, and there's a mirror's a word of. Be careful.
I will be Emperor, yes.
My word, I am for what I as your one would want. No, but there I've
He hands you a
the play. Sabil Shayanu.
What's on your mind, darling? I think you know the answer to that. He has a date with whatever comes after that. Comes after that. Oh, honey, you should be. It was a trust not lightly given, I assure you. The mere recollection of this tune. It haunts me. Sometimes, in dreams, I hear it whistled, and I fear it's real. I fear I'll never wake up again because it holds me enthralled in the night. And when I think of what it made me do, it's enough to make me want to flay whoever sings it.
She pats your shoulder awkwardly.
But darling, no need to tense up so. I'd never do that to you. Well, not unless you'd attempt to sing the song before we meet the Master. But you're far too smart for any such shenanigans, aren't you? Of course you are. Now then, on a more serious note, how about a kiss? Come here.
A kiss. A sweet, stolen moment.
See? I told you we should do this again sometime.
One step, then another, ever closer. You can tell from her bearing, Sabine has never been so ready to kill. Another step, ever closer. The moment has... The eyes of predators meet.
Sabil.
He snaps his fingers, and she involuntarily snaps to attention.
Here you go, breaking my heart.
That's the plan, mastermind.
He sighs, sadly.
I don't begrudge you your freedom, Sabil. Your escape relieved me of having to... I would have watched you, like I have all this time, glad to see you live, sometimes even laugh. I'm very...
The feeling's not quite...
Not yet.
One step, then another, ever closer. You can tell from her bearing, Sabine has never been so ready to kill, so on the brink of impending action. She's like a cat, all concentrated muscle, that split second before it pounces. Another step, ever closer. The moment has finally come. She's found the master. The eyes of predators meet.
Sabine?
He snaps his fingers, and she involuntarily snaps to attention.
Here you go, breaking my heart.
That's the plan, mastermind.
He sighs, sadly.
I don't begrudge you your freedom, Sabine. Your escape relieved me of having to witness your death by your own hand. The inevitable last command. I would have watched you, like I have all this time, glad to see you live, sometimes even laugh. I'm very fond of you, you know.
The feeling's not quite mutual.
Not yet.
Another snap, different fingers, different sound. She looks to the ground. She's bowing before him.
Utter control. The tool of a tyrant, you think? But you're mistaken. Let me indulge you with an explanation. Everything I do for a much greater good. The supreme example of this is you, Sabine. She's the prime scion. It had to be her. The other scions knew and welcomed her. They sought out their own killer. It was all so very elegant. What I did had to be done, Sabine, and I had to be the orchestrator, for I am the House of Shadows. I am the Fate Weaver. I am the hand that guides a blind world.
Sabine slowly draws her needle.
Time to get to the point.
My, you still have the needle I gave you. How very gratifying. A fine instrument, is it not? Precise, exact. Just like me. Just like you. You should know that I forced you to shed the blood of scions because rather than a killer, it transformed you into a savior of untold millions. Here's the final truth, Sabine. The true evil here is not me. It's you. The Mother Tree and her scions do not seek to carve out their own part of peace in this world. They seek to carve out the whole wide world for themselves. They want their roots to conquer every last inch of Rivellon. World domination. The prevalence of one race over all others. That is what they desire. That is what I counteract.
Not quite wrong, not quite right.
At last, from darkness a ray of light. Though far too late it shines. I don't begrudge you your freedom, Sabine, but you came looking for me driven by no more than ordinary bloodlust. All you see is red. You've lost sight of all reason. You know how the scar works. You know I have but to sing a single tune. You've no hope whatsoever of defeating your master.
He sings. The Scar song swells, 1,000 tiny needles in Sabile's soul, chipping away at her will. She looks at you with hope and defiance, gives the signal. You must sing the song. Your voice harmonizes with the Master's. Stunned, he hesitates, and yours becomes the dominant melody. Sabine is free from his influence.
Dear me, you're a miracle worker. I'll take it from here.
The patient cat finally pounces. She strikes, precisely, exactly. Her needle pierces his neck, spears his vocal cords, filling his throat with blood. Checkmated and muted, he staggers back, all a feared fury. This is it. It's time to kill the Master.
certainly not.
What's on your mind, darling? It feels magnificent, if somewhat unreal. But first things first.
You look on as Sabine bares her arm and drags her needle across the word master like a knife, drowning the black ink in blood. With a few ripples of sauce, the wound closes, leaving behind but new scar tissue that effaces all trace of the hated word that was.
Thank you. You're such a sweetheart.
She laughs. Her cat eyes dance with mirth.
Now, it's over.
She hugs you back warmly. Next, she takes your hand in hers, meets your eyes in earnest.
I just can't thank you enough. I could never have defeated the Master without you. I owe you everything. But I do, and I won't forget. I am free now.
She places a hand over the fresh scar on her arm.
I've known the opposite too long to want to spend another day hollow with hate, another night hollow with loneliness. I know I needn't be, if you show me a little love.
You kiss her on the cheek, and she laughs, full of life.
Now that the Master's dead, might as well pursue Divinity, I say.
Yes? Is it an audience you desire?
The prince narrows his eyes at you, each one glittering in the light.
So the House of Shadows thinks Sadher a threat. Their Shadow Prince wants me to kill her because she will be the mother of dragons. Fire, destruction, the end of the world. What do you think? Only one way to find out, as far as I'm concerned. Let them be born.
How resolved he looks. How royal his bearing.
Or did you think I'd be swayed by that shadow mongrel? His kind, it is all cowardice. They who are scared of what might happen do well to be afraid of what will happen, for they only strengthen the resolve of those they oppose. As for the world's reaction, I will deduce, I will instruct. And so it does not matter how the world reacts. Each eventuality ends with my victory. If this man was to be believed, he was the House of Shadows, which implies said institution exists no longer. I am not of the opinion, however, that this man was to be believed. Was he prince? Maybe. Did he truly work for the good of our empire? Perhaps. He could have been no more than a lowborn, with a taste for drama and deceit. He could be one Shadow Prince in a legion of thousands. All that matters is he's dead. No longer can he stand in my way or pose a threat to Sadher. Which quite calls for a celebratory round of drinks as far as I'm concerned. Surely it's obvious. Ascension awaits. Once we manage to gain access to the actual Well of Ascension.